Hi everyone, my name is Busari Abiodun. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be discussing about cash book. Under this topic, we will be looking at the meaning of cash book, the various types of cash book you have, the format of a cash book, and I will be taking a question on single column cash book, and I will be preparing the solution to that question. So let's get started. Cash book. So if you are talking about cash book, it is the only book that falls under the both journal and ledger. If you remember when I explained journal or my tutorial on journal, there are various types of journal. We have sales journal, purchase journal, return inwards journal, return outwards journal, general journal or journal proper, and cash book. The same thing happens when we treat the ledger, the various ledger we have. We also have cash book under the ledger. So it is the only ledger, it is only the cash book that falls under both journal and the ledger. So it is used to record cash transaction, which means any business that deals with cash transaction, the particular book they are going to keep is a cash book. So a cash book has two sides. So at the left hand side is the debit side, while at the right hand side is the credit side. So the debit side is used to record cash received, while the credit side is used to record any payment made on cash. So what are the types of cash book we have? So there are three major types of cash book, which are, we have the single column cash book, double column cash book, and three column cash book. Those are the three major cash books that we have. Note that there is petty cash book. If you are talking about petty cash book, it is just an extension of a cash book. It's not among the types of the cash book. It's a situation whereby this business set aside certain amount to take care of petty expenses. So at the end of the day, it means the value will still be merged with the main cash book. So that's the reason why a petty cash book is not among the major types of cash book that we have. So what is the format of a cash book? So in a cash book, there are four major entries that must be recorded, which are, we have the date of the transaction, particulars, which is the details of the transaction, we have folio, and we have amount, which means we are talking about cash book. We are going to have these four major columns at both the debit side and the credit side of the cash book. So just like I said, if you look at it, this is the format of a cash book. If you look at it, it has four columns. Four columns are the debit side, at the left side. The first four columns are the right side, and there is a thicker line that was used to separate the two, just for explanation purpose. So we give it the title cash book. At the debit side, we write DR to represent debit. At the credit side, we have CR to represent credit. So now we fill the ledger. So we have date, particulars, folio, cash at the debit side. So we repeat the same thing at the credit side: date, particular, folio, and amount. So this is the format of a cash book. So we are talking about single column cash book. So just like I explained earlier, I said we have three major types of cash book: single column cash book, double column cash book, and three column cash book. In this particular video, I will be taking a single column cash book. So this cash book is used to record cash only, which means if a business is using a single column cash book, that means the business is dealing with cash only. The business is not collecting check. So that's what it means. So that is, it has only one column for recording amount of goods. So, and it is found among firms that operate in cash only, just like I said earlier, do not sell on credit or check or check. So that's what it means. So let's take an illustration on a single column cash book. The following are the transactions of Fadward for the month of November 2021. November 1 started business with cash 80,000 naira. November 4 paid rent 10,000 naira. November 10 purchases 15,000 naira. November 15 cash sales 12,000 naira. 21 paid electricity 7,000 naira. November 28 cash sales 3,000 naira. And November 30 bought furniture 25,000 naira. You are required to prepare the cash book of Fadward for the month of November 2021. 21. So the solution, the first thing we write the title, the name of the company, Fadward Cash Book. So we have our cash book format. So at the debit side, we have the debit side. At the right hand side, we have the credit side. Then we fill in the details. We have date, particulars, folio, amount at the debit side. So at the credit side, we also have date, particulars, folio, and amount. So we can now proceed with the preparation of our cash book. Let's go to the question. So November 1 started business with cash 80,000 naira. If you remember, the money used to start a business is called what? Capital. So which means capital is what? 80,000. We go to our cash book November 1. So unit of measurement, we put it, if it is naira, if it is dollar. So November 1, that is 0111 capital. How much is it? 80,000 naira. So that is it. That's the treatment of that entry. So we go back to our question. November 4 paid rent 10,000 naira. Rent is an expenses. So which means cash is going out. So that means we are going to credit the cash book. Remember, when we receive money, when we receive cash, we debit the cash book. When we give out cash, we credit the cash book. So we go back to our cash book November 4, which is 0411. Rent 10,000 naira. That is the treatment. We go back to the question. November 10 purchases 15,000 naira. So purchases, that means it's also an expense, which means cash is going out. That means we are going to credit the cash book. So let's go over to our cash book. November 10 purchases. How much? 15,000 naira. We credit the cash book with 15,000 naira. Back to the question. November 15 cash sales 12,000 naira. When we sell, that means we are receiving money. That means the cash book will be debited. So go back to the cash book November 15, that is 1511. Sales 12,000 naira. So back to our question. November 21 paid electricity. It's an expenses. So that means cash is also going out this time around. That means we are going to credit our cash book with 7,000 for electricity. That is November 21. That is 2111. Electricity 7,000 naira. So back to the question. On November 28, cash sales 3,000 naira. We are receiving money this time around. That means we are debiting the cash book. November 28 sales 3,000 naira. That's the treatment. So the last entry we have here, November 30, bought furniture 25,000 naira. It's an expenses. That means we are going to credit the cash book because cash is also going out. So we go back to our cash book. November 30 furniture 25,000 naira. So that's all you can see. There's no other entry again. So we go back to our cash book. So the next thing is to close the account. So the debit side will close the amount column. The credit side will also close the amount column. So the next thing is to add the entries together. So the total amount of cash received for the month of November. So that will be 80,000 naira plus 12,000 naira plus 3,000 naira. So that will give us 95,000 naira. So if we go to the credit side, if we add all the entries together, 10,000 naira plus 15,000 naira plus 7,000 naira plus 25,000 naira. So that will give us 57,000 naira. If you look at the value, 57,000 is less than 95,000. When preparing the cash book, whichever one that is having the highest value, the amount will be written above the total SAP, which means at the credit side, we have 95,000, which is the higher. So 95,000 will also be written under the credit side as 95,000 naira. So if you look at all the entries we have at the credit side, we had everything together. Like I said earlier, the total is what? 57,000 naira. And 57,000 naira is less than 95,000 naira. So which means the value we are having at the credit side is not up to 95,000. So we will subtract 57,000 from 95,000. That will give us 38,000 naira. So that 38,000 naira will be written under the credit side. If we had everything together now, it will all cost to 95,000 naira. So that 38,000 naira is what you call balance carried down. So that balance carried down, which means for the month of January, so that will now be brought down to the following month as balance brought down, which is 38,000, which means by December, the total amount of cash the business will be having in the cash book will be what? 38,000 naira. That is what the balance brought down represents. So thank you very much for watching.